issues here, but I will say this, there were addresses that were issued that the city was never made aware of, none. And there were utilities that were being turned on. Maybe not water. Again, I can get into, but my point is that those are utilities that were being turned on because they had an address. AEP saying, you have an address, you can turn your power on. I'm saying that again.
It's not that easy with AEP.
Well, that's all I can tell you.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and call for a close to the public meeting.
There's another question.
Public hearing?
It's a public hearing.
Hold on just a minute.
And I need a
Hold
comment.
on just a minute. Mr. Lozano, you have one more question.
Yeah, I have a question.
All right, you have the floor.
This medical building, does that have an address?
Okay, that's.
No,
It's
no,
a public
it's
hearing.
address.
No, that's not relative to this
It is.
conversation.
Yes, sir.
You're welcome, I will be here tomorrow afternoon, you're welcome to come talk to me about that.
We both
Yeah,
know it's got an
because-
address. 612 South Beach.
Mr. Garcia, you have the
I'd
floor.
like you to just mention to the city council that I established, while I was county judge, a 911 addressing for this county. I applied for a grant through the Council of Governments, established it, trained the people and everything, and now it's ironic that I couldn't have an address for myself. Why? Micromanagement again. People need the liberty to speak and get addressed and at least get an answer from your attorney. He doesn't budge either. He won't give me an address. He won't give me the opportunity.
I'll just say that there's more to that, but we are moving on at the.
Well, I'd
the
like
issue-
to know a little more to that.
No, again, I'll be here tomorrow afternoon, Mr. Garcia, and, well, because of certain circumstances you initiate, I can't really
Well,
confer.
put me on an open meeting where the council can take action.
That is not the action item here. It is not.
I know that, but put me on the agenda. I've requested to be on the agenda, and Mr. Maldonado knows also. And I've been denied. And I can take only so much, and I'm not threatening anybody, but every citizen in this city and the county needs their right and needs to be given the right to be listened to.
I don't
You have all these
any,
people waiting for services
I
that are
don't
not.
have any problem with anybody speaking, as long as they follow the guidelines. There's more to that than is simply stated here, so I'm gonna move on to the issues at hand. We are now gonna close the public hearing for the Ayala, agenda item, and it is 6:44. Now we're moving on to new business. This is item 9A. Crystal, are you there? Crystal, can you hear us?
Yes, sir, I am here.
Are you taking the minutes?
Yes, sir, I have it marked down as 6:44 as the closure.
Very good, just want to ensure we're following the protocol here. Okay,
Yes, sir.
item 9B, this is 9A, new business, and 9A and B kind of go together. We've got some gentlemen here that are going to discuss these items for us, and they work together. Consider and approve a plan of finance for the issuance of a tax-exempt obligations of refunding of certain currently outstanding obligations related to expenses authorizing city staff, bond counsel, financial advisors to proceed with such financing and improving other matter, incidents and related thereto. This is an action item. And again, I'm gonna open the floor to Mr. Robert Tejadina. He has came to us and spoke to last time, and this is about the opportunity to combine some short-term debt at a higher interest rate for a longer-term time and save us substantial savings. So, Robert, you have the floor.
Good evening, Mayor Briscoe, council members and staff, and members of the audience. Again, for the record, my name is Robert Tejadina, Tejadina Galvano Lawrence. We are the city's financial advisor. Also with me this evening is Mr. Juan Aguilera Vescomina. He is bond counsel for the city of Pearsall. And I believe it's in your packet, a presentation of a refunding opportunity. And before I go into it, the refinancing opportunity is the same scenario as if you and I are looking to refinance our home. Say, for example, our monthly mortgage payment is $1,000 a month, and we have 20 years left on our mortgage payment, and the interest rate's 5%. There's an opportunity now, if we're that homeowner, to lower that mortgage interest rate of 5% to say 3.5%. And we can lower the example $1,000 a month mortgage payment, to say $800. And we save $200 a month. We're not looking to add any more debt to on the city's name. We're not looking to increase the interest rate on the city's existing loan. We're not looking to increase your interest and sinking fund, INS tax rate on the community, or look to increase the utility rates that help pay for this debt. And again, a refinancing is strictly to lower the interest rate on the city's debt, the same way we would on a mortgage payment. And we save monthly on the mortgage payment. Here, for the city, you would save on your annual bond payments. You make 2 bond payments a year, March and September. So combining those, if this refinancing were to be moved forward by the council, you would save annually on 2 different scenarios, depending on which one the council moves forward with. Again, we're not looking to add any more debt. We're not looking to increase the tax rate or the utility rates to do this refinancing, strictly for savings. So if you turn to page 2, the first scenario is refinancing the combination tax, limited pledge revenue, certificates obligation, series 2012. The balance on that is $3,330,000. The maturities we're looking to refinance, again, lower the interest rate, is maturities from 2023 to 2027, pretty much the balance of the financing. The interest rate at the time in 2012 was 3.15%. On the bottom left portion of page 2, we have the prior debt service payment. That is the payment on the Series 2012 COs, totaling $3,703,000. The next column over is refunding debt service. So the council were to approve this refunding on page 2, we'd be able to lower the interest rate from 3.15%, and on the far right hand, on the right hand side of the page, under the heading key assumption, TIC. It's called TIC, True Interest Cost Estimate. We go from a 3.15% to 1%. And the reason is it's a short-term financing. So again, we're lowering the interest rate and our payments are going to drop. So the third column from the left, we have $3 million, a total. If we move forward on this financing and lower the rate from 3.15 to 1%, we save overall, and I shaded it in gray, $146,000 total. And per year, beginning fiscal year ending 2023, you're gonna save about a penny a year on your interest and sinking fund, INS tax rate.
Council, that's on page 55, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm going off.
Page 55 in your packet, anyway, just wanna make sure y'all saw it.
Okay, and I'll make sure and note that, page 55. So again, on the shaded column, that is the savings if we go from an interest rate of 3.15% to 1%. You save overall a penny a year from fiscal year ending 23 to 2027. The estimated cost of issuance has already been removed so that the city would receive the savings, roughly $146,000. Cost of issuance about $60,000 to do this financing. Texas Attorney General fee, placement agent, bond counsel fee, FA fee, and expenses, all that totaling about $60,000. And again, we have the savings overall, $146,000. Now, if you turn to page 56, 56 is the second scenario that we presented to the mayor and to the city manager. And this scenario, we're looking to refinance 2 outstanding debt that the city has. Again, the one from the prior page, combination tax and limited pledge revenue, certificates obligation, series 2012, $3,330,000, and the combination tax and limited pledge revenue, series 2012A, $1,367,875. That financing is a USDA loan that the city did some water and wastewater projects back in 2012. The interest rate on that financing is 2.125%. And again, the 2012 From the prior page, 3.15%. Now, if we go to the left side of page 56, we have prior debt service. It's under the heading projected annual savings. Second column titled prior debt service. That is the principal and interest of those two financings combined. All the way down, there's a total of $5,536,700 after fiscal year ending 2052. And again, the reason it goes that far out is because it was a USDA loan. The next column titled refunding debt service, if we were to refinance this debt, combining the interest rate on both of them, we have about a rate of 2.468%. If this refunding scenario were to be approved by the council, we could go out there and try to get an interest rate from about a week and a half ago, an interest rate of 1.60%, and that's under the key assumptions, private placement financing on both. And then if you go to the left portion of the page, shaded in gray, I titled it savings. So we go from a combined interest rate on the 2012 and 2012A of 2.468%, refinance it to a lower rate of 1.6%, we're able to save a total of $232,538 a year. Now, this is what we did on this structure. If you notice on the left portion, on the third column from the left, on page 56, refunding debt service, the city would have no more debt service payments beginning fiscal year ending 2037. You would be paying off these two loans instead of in 2052, you would pay it off in 2036. So the next column over that we shaded in gray, the city would save this fiscal year, again, which we're already in, about $2,200. Next fiscal year, from 2023 to 2027, you're gonna save over $200,000 a year. That's estimated at about 7 cents, a little over 7 cents a year on an INS tax rate. The prior page, we're saving about a penny a year. So what we're doing here, we're taking, again, the long end, the maturities from 2037 to 52, and we're saying, let's pay this loan off earlier because we're able to get a lower interest rate and save here on the next 6 years, 5 to 6 years, and then from fiscal year ending 28 through 36, that's where we move the payments from the USDA loan from 37 to 52. We move those annual payments and paying off from fiscal year ending 28 to fiscal year ending 2036. So again, overall, the net effect, the city would be saving $232,000, and here in the next 5 to 6 years, it would be saving 7 cents a year, assuming property values remain the same at about $320 million, more or less estimated at $320 million, and the INS tax rate currently, I believe, the city levied 43 cents. So say this item is approved, this scenario on page 56, the larger refunding, and you move forward a year from now, or actually August of next year, when you're going through your budget, and if everything remains the same as this current fiscal year, instead of levying an INS tax rate of 43 cents, you're now considering an INS tax rate. If this refunding is done and we're able to lower the rate from 2.468% to 1.6%, 36 cents of an INS tax rate. That's one option. The other option also, if there's other needs for the city, if there's other infrastructure, there's other streets, curb, gutter, utility, the city is able to layer in a project into the INS tax rate and able to do a financing and still consider an INS tax rate decrease next year, assuming property values remain the same next year. There's several options to consider as far as potential projects in the horizon, but these two refunding opportunities on page 55 and 56 will not increase the property tax rate, which is the interest and sinking fund, INS tax rate, or any kind of utility rate increase in order to do either one of these refundings. Again, the goal is lower the interest rate on the debt and save on your annual bond payments to the bondholders.
Robert, what
Yes,
is
sir.
your fee structure on the?
On page 56, the total cost of issuance for all the Texas Attorney General, placement agent, financial advisor, bond counsel, an estimated $70,000. The prior page was $60,000. It's a larger financing on this page, 56, and we're looking at about estimated $70,000. Cost of issuance has already been removed from both total savings scenario. And again, if, I know Mr. Aguilera will be discussing the parameters, and he will let you know what the council will be considering as far as legally what the council can do, what we can do as consultants for the city. If either one of the scenarios are approved on page 56, the smaller financing or the larger one, if this item is approved, we would have the placement agent submit the bid form to the banks. The placement agent will send the audit, as the mayor discussed earlier. The audit is very important. If we did not have the fiscal year ending 20 audit already in hand, we wouldn't be presenting this refinancing for the city. Because it is really key to have that document in hand in order to see what the banks are going to see financially, how stable is the city. So again, once that bid proposal goes out to the banks, it'll roughly about 25 banks or more. December the 1st is the deadline for all those banks to submit their bid in. And at that time, December 1st, we'll get the lowest and take the lowest interest rate. And we're hoping anywhere from 1% to 1.6%, depending on which scenario the council approves. And if everything goes well, we'll close the financing on January the 5th. And again, the financing team for that, yes ma'am, I'm sorry.
I know you went over both of the refinancing options that we're giving the city. And I know one of them, what is the refinancing, what burden does it, put on our taxpayers?
Okay.
Because we did spend this money,
Right, those projects, the funds that were issued back in 2012, the 2012, I believe, and again, that's for public improvements. It could have been for street, fire, police, curb gutter, meters. The 2012A was again for water and wastewater through the USDA. Those funds have already been spent. So refinancing, all we're gonna do is contact the people that loaned you the money almost 10 years ago and say exactly the way we would if we were refinancing our home. Say
so
if
we're not gonna put any burden on the taxpayers.
Absolutely not. We're looking to lower the debt payment. And then ma'am, if you go to page 55, to just answer that question, it's $3,330,000 refunding. The savings is $146,000, and I shaded it in gray. Beginning in 2023, because we're already in fiscal year ending 22, per year, that average savings is about a penny a year. So again, if everything remains the same, hypothetically, if the city doesn't do any projects moving forward, instead of taxing 43 cents on the INS tax rate, you can now consider taxing 42 cents, beginning in 23, fiscal year ending 23 to 2027. And again,
I'm sorry.
yes
You
ma'am.
say we're considering that, does that automatically go down, or that depends on if everything stays the same?
If everything stays the same, property values, other needs, and I think the mayor touched on earlier, are there other capital improvement projects the city is looking at? So if all of that falls into place and property values remain the same, there's no capital improvement projects going into fiscal year 23, you can consider as a council Do we leave it at 43 cents or do we lower it to 42
I
cents?
have a question.
So,
I have one
Council, just,
question for the city manager, Mayor.
yeah, just real quick, just, as you guys, I talked about a little bit before, you know, is it the right time? One of the things that Robert and I discussed earlier is interest rates undoubtedly are gonna be raising soon, and the ability to get an attractive rate like this may not be present for a very long time. So interest rate wise, it certainly meets that requirement of considering. But just as we talked about our financial needs going forward, I think earlier